Australia is a strange place. When the world was formed, initially called Pangaea, Australia was one of the first bits of land to separate from Pangaea, leading to it having the most bizarre creations of wildlife and people imaginable. For example, the kangaroo, the koala, or Darren at the bottle at 2 in the afternoon asking for a crate of VB longneck. There are many strange characters, but here in the UK, well, more up in Scotland, there is one man who believes that Australia does not exist. He believes it's a group hallucination, all in their head, if you will. So please enjoy this deep dive of the most sane man in all of Scotland. So this man apparently doesn't believe Australia is real. He might actually be spitting, to be fair.
He's a Scottish YouTuber who's convinced that the entire country of Australia doesn't really exist.
There's no proof that it exists. It's a fantasy. It's no more real than Narnia.
And while he'd eventually...
Scotland forever!
His conspiracy theory began to develop on the 22nd of April 2014 when he'd start to express his hatred for the country.
I think this is pretty funny to watch because I've just came back from a trip to Australia. I literally just came back from PAX. Scots be talking funny. Yeah. I saw a TikTok of a Swedish person just talking normally, and the top comment was literally, why did I think this guy was Scottish to begin with?
If you could destroy one country in the world, which would it be? This is without a doubt the easiest question to ever answer, because the answer is Australia. That
Look at his shirt. I may be wrong, but it's highly unlikely. So true. Literally me.
country is a waste of space. That country is the worst place on earth.
I like how it's the Scottish person ranting about this, by the way. Scotland is literally the country that cries about being attached to England every single day, but they stay there anyway. We're going to cut ourselves away from the UK. Fuck England. I'm going to have an iron brew and get a saw, cut myself away from England.
As a public service, I will personally burn Australia to the ground. Let's send Australia to space, as well as one final banger reading. If Australia wins Eurovision, I will drown one puppy and burn one baby for every point they win by. Rag Reynolds didn't specify.
I like how he's just obviously a troll, and then you've got Sonny V2 putting in this really dark music, like he's making a manifesto. They're gonna do a referendum in 2023. They do a referendum every 2 weeks and they lose. I don't understand. Remove yourselves from the country. I get it. England sucks, bro. I get it. I really do. I'm not some I'm not some monarchy god defender here, right? You want to cut yourself off from England? Please do. But they have a referendum every 7 days and they just lose. We could cut ourselves away from England, donkey. But then we get no iron brew. Our country is so small, but we all despise each other. We despise each other that much that if you travel 20 minutes in a car in any direction, you will have a completely different accent to the place you just started.
With his first point being that we simply have an annoying accent.
Okay, this is the Scottish person saying that. I don't know, man. I feel there's a limit of what kind of accents you can mock. Australians, they talk kind of funny. They go fucking Laura, but a Scottish person making fun of an Australian accent. I don't know. This is like getting two Carls from Jimmy Neutron just trying to fight each other.
Most irritating accents on earth, beaten only by South Africans. Every time I hear a pathetic Australian say,
I love the South African accent, bro. South African accent's great. South Africans be like a sipit after every second word.
I just want to punch them in their good for nothing liver. Since it's common knowledge that all Australians are alcoholics, I punched an
Okay. Maybe this is a bit of projection. Hang on a minute. Statistics for alcoholics in Scotland. Let's pull up the statistics for alcoholism in Scotland and in Australia. Okay, so in Australia, 1 in 5, 19% have consumed more than 10 standard drinks. So 20%, okay, 20%. And then in Scotland, 1 in 4, 24% drink a hazardous or harmful amount. They literally drink 4% more and they drink 14 units as opposed to 10. Unlucky ratio, unlucky. Literally debunked Scotland in 2 Google searches.
Speaking of how dumb Australians are, the image on screen now is an IQ map of the world. As you can
What? China is number 1.
Now, Rag Reynolds' disbelief in Australia wasn't exactly an original idea. He even claimed in the previous clip that his theory had been inspired by another user on Twitter. In fact, the conspiracy theory dates all the way back to November of 2006, when the following post was made to the Flat Earth forums.
Oh no. See, I thought it was all a funny haha bit, kind of a haha, your country doesn't exist. You know how Americans mock the British despite only one of us having 7 school shootings a day? But the fact that it has now been posted on the Flat Earth forum Now people are actually going to believe it. That's the worst thing.
Truth. However, as you might be able to gather from this reply, there wasn't exactly all that much evidence for the theory. There was one individual who posted a world map with and without Australia in the bottom.
I just keep seeing these and I just think of like the world without Britain. Also, I do want to say Australia is way too big. One thing I love about Australia is like how huge it is, but like 5% of it is actually habitable. The rest is just like complete desert. The only places I've been to are Sydney and Melbourne. And I think they're the only two cities where like stuff actually happens. Melbourne and Sydney are really nice though. They're such great places. Spiders too much? I didn't even see any spiders in Australia, surprisingly.
18, more than 200 individuals gathered in the UK city of Birmingham to discuss whether or not Australia was real. And while it's easy to laugh and scorn from a distance, one of the attendees actually had a pretty reasonable argument for why the theory might be true. Australia is not real. It's a hoax.
I like how it was hosted in Birmingham. Of course it was hosted in Birmingham. I do want... They literally stopped, like... They stopped stabbing each other for 5 minutes in Birmingham just to talk about a country not being real.
It's a cover-up for one of the greatest mass murders in history, made by one of the most prominent empires. Now, to give credit where credit is...
Now, if that was real... Which it isn't, because Australians are basically UK people, but they just sound funny. What happens when you go to Australia? If I get on a plane and fly to Australia, where am I going to? Where am I actually going to?
If you think you've ever been to Australia, you're terribly wrong. The plane pilots are all in on this, and have in all actuality only flown you to islands close nearby, or in some cases parts of South America.
I don't think, like, in an economy class flight to Australia, where they're serving like 300 people alcohol and the attendants get sworn and shouted and spit on. I don't actually think that they're being on it. No, I don't think anything would be worth that.
Oh, man, get me some more fucking grog, man. You don't get fucking drunk on this floor, man.
Received country known to man. So he got his council together and they put together a plan. They were going to take all of the worst parts of their culture, make it 50 times worse, ingrain it into the minds of 100 citizens with the lowest IQs, and then put those people into an abandoned city together with cameras on them 24/7.
Okay, he would be spitting if he wasn't Scottish. That's all I'm saying. This is like the poor beating up the poor right now. Like this is not.
Add that Australia's unique wildlife, such as kangaroos, had been roboticized by New Zealand in order to reinforce the lie.
They decided it might be a good idea to start introducing strange new animals, so they created the robotic creature that we know today as a cat.
This is literally proven. Like the reason why animals in Australia are so bizarre to the rest of the planet is because when Earth was Pangea and all the land was together before it got split off and divided everywhere, Australia was the first country to be split off first, the first bit of land from Pangea to be split off first. So that's why all the animals you'll see in Australia, you just can't find them like anywhere else.
A compelling argument is made here by a user going by the name of Massive Dump.
Rag Reynolds' conspiracy theory pitch would receive a dislike ratio of over 94%.
That's deadly.
However,
come on, guys. You didn't have to dislike it that much. You're going to play it into the meme a little bit, Jesus.
However, it would be with these videos that the hornet's nest was stirred up, as shortly after posting them, other larger YouTubers began...
One thing that I respect so much is how this guy's committed so much to the bit. It's not like he did like one video or 5 videos. His entire channel was literally just to force a meme. This is like if I never... Do you remember that unfunny bit I had like 4 years ago? The small loan of $1 million? This is like if I never moved on from that bit and I just forced it in 2022.
The third largest YouTuber in Australia, Laserbeam, would upload a video titled "It Turns Out Australia is Fake."
No one's given literally any evidence. Nothing. They've just yelled at me and said it's fake.
Prompting a response titled "Dear Laserbeam, you are delusional."
He thinks he is from a place that he is not really from. He is clearly just drugged up. He does not seem to...
I mean, Laserbeam is drugged up. We know that. We know this.
When people go to Australia, they're actually landing in New Zealand. They are drugged. They imagine all of the experiences there.
Did anyone understand a single word he just said? I think he was trying to like order iron brew or something.
In Rag Reynolds taking a polygraph test to confirm that he had in fact been to Australia.
I am a truth talker.
What is the... He's using an app. He's using an app on his phone as a polygraph test.
He would come in one final video titled "Australia Does Exist," during which, after all of this time, Rag Reynolds would finally admit that Australia was a real place.
Australia is real. Of course it's a real place. You can see pictures of it from satellites in space. They have loved...
Hang on, what's that? What's his picture, boys? Is that Diva from Overwatch? Is that Diva with the skin? What is that? Okay, I can't tell whether he's dangerously based or cringe. If that's Diva, I'm quitting the video.
And I would like to apologize to all Australians out there. Australians, Australia, I am sorry.
Only Rag Reynolds was very careful about the date on which this video was uploaded. April 1st, also known as April Fool's Day.
April Fools! assholes. You're all drugged up and brainwashed.
I think he's based. Hang on. Let's... Oh, he's still going. Louis Capaldi punched my autistic sister. What? Most people would just give up and move on. He is still here, and he's still, like, kind of regularly uploading. That's kind of based. Okay.
All right, wankers.